think that information has been becoming more and more readily available to us. I think, over the course of time, we were told we can only live a certain way.
For sure.
We've accepted that, and then, all of a sudden we start figuring out we don't have to live this way. And I think it's just a natural growth of us as human beings and what, the connection that we have in between people.
Yeah.
Especially with social media as big as it is now, you kind of get a different you get more perspectives.
Oh yeah.
As opposed to being just boxed in or enclosed into, thinking the way mom and dad thought, and basically the way their mom and dad thought.
Yeah.
And then, now we get introduced to so many other different lines of thinking.
Yeah.
That we have. It's in our best interest to kind of seek out educated mentors and people that can help you grow your ideas and your ability to perceive things and manage your perspectives, so that you can ultimately start to see those things that are holding you back, and maybe collaborating with different ideas so that you yourself can grow, as opposed to be just like a one-sided stationary idealist, which is what I think a lot of people, with the Make America Great Again stance in their life, has become so one-sided, one narrowly minded, thinking that that's the only kind of thought processes that they can go through.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because I don't know if it's that ingrained, if there's ever an opportunity to change.
Okay. Yeah.
Some of those people.
I don't know, man. I feel so much of that Make America Great Again narrative. It's got a lot of root, in my opinion, in fear.
Yeah.
And guilt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of fear and guilt. And I think that that accountability factor of like historic, and it's a funny thing with the accountability factor because it's not really poor white people's need to be accountable. Okay. And the reason why I say that is well, when we're talking about like racism as a system, you know what I'm saying, versus we're talking about like the actualities of how culture breaks down, right? Like in actuality, racism is a top-bottom thing, meaning that the affluent whites, the people who are like actually developers,
right,
and people who are actually like influence the system, versus the bottom of the barrel people who ain't got shit and who are actually scared,
right,
and fearful, right, of losing their jobs. That's a different style of racism. Like getting called nigger like by a homeless person, and you got money in your pocket and you go into your house, doesn't feel the same, right, versus like dealing with it and you're trying to get a loan for a job, for a business you want to start, or you know what I'm saying, you want to take an opportunity on that like can grow your college, whatever that is. That's an institution,
right?
So like when I think about the Make America Great Again narrative, it's really so much ignorance in it. You know what I'm saying? Like in the ignorance that's in it, it's really just a divide and conquer tool to like get people to like focus on a red hat. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Versus to focus on like this dude who is in office, Trump, who is actually outside of what he's publicly doing, he's like building an infrastructure for wealth. And like making that divide line even harder for poor white people, right? Even for poor white people, you know what I'm saying? Like, even for the ones who like freaking like, there's a lot of black privilege as well. There's a lot of black folks who are affluent, who have money, and who are doing well, who are looking at these red hat cats as like, man, you don't even.
Yeah, absolutely. And my concern is like, all of us in this lower structure of class society could, use the help from the ones who are affluent and powerful. But because of the way everything is structured, I'm not dividing by race lines. It's now more a class structure.
For sure.
So, and it's unfortunate that we can't reach out to the brothers and sisters who don't look like us but still are in the same class structure as us, and they want to still consider us as opponents. And I'm like, you know, look at the position we're both in. We're in this because of the institution, the way the institution is set up.
Yeah.
Not because we dislike each other as people. We're in the same exact boat where, you know, we're all trying to get a leg up. We're all trying to claw ourselves out of a certain position to make our lives better and more comfortable.
Right.
And, you know, we can't see past each other's skin tone.
Right.
You know,
that's what I feel. It's like the skin tone situation is the distraction. I feel like
distraction.
It's the
that
distraction.
Is a great way to put it.
Like the Occupy movement had it down. That was like that was the real movement.
What happened to that, man?
It had to be disrupted. You know what I'm saying? It had to be disrupted because like the focal point of where the rage was at and the anger was at was going in the right direction.
Right.
We're like, oh, bankers, oh, people with money, you know, power, real power. And it was, you know, like, and not to say like, but social media and the ways that it's designed right now, you know what I'm saying? It makes everything go viral, right? So like, and this is just factual, like the work that I do currently right now has a lot to do with the school to prison pipeline, the prison industrial complex, which has been a battle that's been going on forever. Like this isn't new. So like, because it's been going on so long, you know, we know this though. Like niggas has been put in prison. This ain't new. You know what I'm saying? Niggas have been shot in the streets. This ain't new. But like when you got to see it on social media, it made it a thing, right? And then social media itself utilized it as a tool to divide and conquer us. Meaning that we got so focused on like freaking what they were yelling about, we've lost the focus on, oh, but wait a minute, corporations, wait a minute, freaking people with power. Oh, you know what I'm saying?
Isn't that incredible how quickly that could happen too?
So quickly. It's so quick. And you know, social media, the way that I look at it, it's the equivalent of what television was in the 1960s. It was the first time that we had access. You know what I'm saying? Like we could see everything. So it woke everybody up. You know what I'm saying? It got people who normally, because I feel like people like us, we've been engaged in what's happening socially because like that's our reality, the music we listen to, the people we gravitate towards. That's the way that we live our lives for the most part. But there's a lot of people who don't have that. Who aren't engaged in those things. So for those people, that activated them into wanting to be activists or engage into something, whether or for the right and the left, right? For whether there were conservatives who were like all of a sudden about, you know, whatever they were about with tiki torches, or you know, like, or if it was Black Lives Matter, you know what I'm saying, or indigenous rights, or immigrant, you know, rights, or LGBTQ plus rights, you know, like all these rights people are now focused on because we haven't had a chance to look at each other in the ways that we can look at each other because of social media. So, you know, like I look at what we're battling right now, and I feel like the thing that we're battling is really to like find that we're all on the same path, and the fight that we're actually fighting has nothing to do, it does have to do with race, but not really. Meaning that like it has to do with race because of the history and the lineage and all that shit, right? But like right now, like how do we push forward for that narrative? You know, because even as people of color, black people, whatever, like we have to know where we come from and have pride in where we come from to even advance up to the next.
Just as much so as, you know, the ones who had built America, you know what I mean? Like the premise of which America was founded on, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, like is a good premise. You got it right. But if you're gonna do that and you're gonna bring in people from all over the world and it's gonna be this melting pot of cultures, everyone has to get a fair and equal playing field, and it can't just be the few resources we have to make everybody's life comfortable in the pursuit of happiness needs to be equally spread apart. And so, like, you know, the systems that are in place, old slavery systems that have been in place since Greek and Roman times, you know what I mean? These are the old things that are hard to kill because the people who do have the power want it to stay that way, so they'll use things like propaganda in order to divert attention from an Occupy movement, which was probably, of all the movements, I think, in the last 20 years, probably the one that needed to be focused on the most, and we just went right back to business as usual.
As we always do,
Based on, like, you know, fuck again, fuck Make America Great Again, people, fuck Black Lives Matter, No, like we were getting past that when we were like, it's the 99% versus the 1%.
Yeah.